Well, shifting gears a little bit here, Foursquare is one of the hottest, fastest growing startups. It uses location-based services to allow wireless users to check into places and see where their friends are. A little bit voyeuristic, some might say. Well, but how will it deal now with competition from Facebook as well as privacy issues? Emily Chang is live in San Francisco with the CEO of Foursquare. Hey, Emily.
Lisa, Foursquare now has more than 4 million users, adding 15 to 20,000 users a day. I'm here with the co-founder and CEO of Foursquare, Dennis Crowley. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about what this kind of user growth says about location-based services. Why do people want other people to know where they are?
Well, I think it changes people's experience of the real world. Like, I check into all sorts of types of places, and it helps me meet up with people. It helps me discover new things that are nearby. And I think a lot of the things that we're building with Foursquare are teaching people about, how location-based services can make their lives better.
The Pew Research study just came out. Just 4% of U.S. internet users use location-based services. A lot of people still use Foursquare just for fun. There are some gaming elements to it. Do you think this idea is really going to catch on in the mainstream?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think people will be, I think the location-based services have the potential to be even bigger than some of the social networking tools that we use now. Especially, we're taking a lot of things that we've been very familiar with online and bringing those things to the offline world. And I think that's going to be really valuable to a lot of folks.
Since Foursquare launch, a lot of other location-based services have popped up, not the least of which is Facebook Places. They just added some new services, new features last week, now allowing businesses to offer deals based on users' locations. How does Foursquare differentiate itself from Facebook Places?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that's really interesting about Foursquare is that we're designed from the ground up to be all about location and all about helping people discover things in the real world. And I think that really shows in a lot of the things that we build. I think Foursquare takes a little bit more fun and playful tone, and we have a lot of interesting social utility built into the product.
Facebook has more than 500 million users. Foursquare, you're hoping to get to 5 million users by the end of this year. Doesn't it make sense that Facebook, rather than Foursquare, would become the hub for location-based services?
Yeah, it could. I mean, different companies are good at different things, and we just happen to be, carving out a really interesting niche right now of building these fantastic things that help people navigate the real world.
So what are you going to offer that Facebook doesn't?
Oh, so I mean, it's greater, I think, social utility. So we've done a lot of things about that are really like crowdsourced city guides. Like, a lot of people check into Foursquare at bars and restaurants and discover like what they should order on a particular menu. It's like people that are leaving tips behind for other people to discover. And so it's beyond just connecting with friends in the online world. It's being able to take those connections that you have with those people and really make them relevant in the offline world.
Let's talk a little bit about privacy and safety. All of your services are opt-in, but there's been concerns about stalking, about robbery. Certainly users don't opt in to that. What do you think Foursquare, what kind of responsibility does Foursquare bear to protect users' privacy and to protect users from themselves?
Yeah, sure. So, we take users' privacy very seriously, and we've designed the product so it's very difficult, almost impossible, to share your location without to share it accidentally. So whenever you check in a place, we ask you, do you want to share this with your friends? Do you want to share it with Twitter? Do you want to share it with Facebook? And so we think that the important part is to make those controls very transparent to the user and giving them control every step of the way.
You also founded Dodgeball, one of the first mobile social services. That was acquired by Google, but you left Google saying that they weren't giving you enough resources. Eric Schmidt has said that might have been a missed opportunity. Perhaps Google could have built Foursquare earlier. What do you think could have happened differently there?
Oh, I mean, the Dodgeball stuff seemed to be just at Google at the wrong time. The phones weren't very mature. It was before social networks really took off. It was before things like Twitter and Facebook really came about. And I think the timing is different for Foursquare this time around. Like, we all have phones with GPS. We all know how to use a lot of these social media tools. It just, it seems like it's the timing's right.
Google has been criticized for not doing social well enough or enough at all. How do you think Google's doing in social?
Oh, I don't know. Like, we've seen some of the stuff that they've been thinking about, and I think that they're working on some new stuff. It'd be interesting to see how a lot of that stuff evolves.
Earlier this year, you raised a big round of funding with Andreessen Horowitz. There was also talk about you maybe getting bought by Yahoo. Why does it make sense to stay independent right now rather than selling when bigger companies like Facebook and even Twitter are expanding their location-based features?
Sure. Only we've got this vision of these things that we want to build, and they're all about taking the ideas that have been in our head and building them in such a way that we can really deploy them to millions of users. And it's a tough opportunity to get, and we've hustled to the point where we're actually doing that stuff, and it's really exciting for our team, and it seems like we're on a great ride, and it's a little bit too early to get off of it.
You're in such a unique position in the lifetime of your business right now. What is most important? Is it adding users? Is it adding features? Is it making money?
No, it's getting the product right. So, I mean, everything that we do back at the office is focused on the users, focused on the product. We really want to build things that just really blow people's minds. We want to, make things that people are really excited to use. And once we get that stuff right, like the users follow, then the business follows after that.
All right, thank you so much, Dennis Crowley, CEO of Foursquare. Lisa, back to you.
All right.